again.
Today is December 5th, 1995. This interview is with Mrs. Irene Rosenbaum, formerly Katz. The interviewer is Ann Lieb. The interview is in Brooklyn, New York, in the United States of America, and it's being conducted in English. Hello, my name is Ann Lieb. Today is December 5th, 1995, and I'm interviewing Mrs. Irene Rosenbaum, née Katz. Could you please tell me your name and spell it?
My name is Irene Rosenbaum.
Could you spell it for me?
R-O-S-E-N-B-A-U-M.
Could you tell me what your name was at birth?
My name was Irene Katz, and Jewish Rivka.
Could you please tell me the date of your birth?
1922, December 19.
Could you please tell me the city and country where you were born and spell the name of the city?
I was born in Czechoslovakia, Velký Sebluž. We were Czech. V-E-L-K-Y-S-E-V-L-U-S.
Could you please tell me your father's name and a little bit about your father's occupation?
My father was Moshe Morris Katz. We had a wholesale grocery with partners, with an uncle, and we lived in one house, and it was a good going business.
Could you tell me the name of the firm?
The name of the firm was Katz and Rosenthal.
And what products did the firm sell?
We had rice, coffee, sugar, tea, chocolate, all kind, paprika, herring. We sold a lot. That came with big quantity to us because from the villages they had stores, so that was a very good going business. And we sold petroleum. You know, the villages didn't have electricity, so they used a lot of, for the electricity they didn't have, so for lamps, they used the petroleum. And they used all kinds of candles, a lot of candles, big candles for churches, and what else? Margarine we sold. Matter of fact, we had a very big basement. Like the whole house, because both family lived in one house, and it was very cold, the basement. We didn't need refrigeration. It was hard from there. And other sardines, you know, like tuna fish we didn't have, but sardines we had.
So the Rosenthals and the Katzes lived in one big house?
One big house.
Could you tell me the address?
The address was Masarykova ulice 41. Masaryk was our president. Our street was Masaryk 41. That's the street was. Next to us was the post office, all the offices there, even the jail was there. And sometimes if they caught a Jew in the jail, very seldom, but they always came, the police to us, that they have a Jews, we should send them food. They weren't equipped for kosher food.
Could you tell me your mother's name and her maiden name?
My mother was Rose Gelbman.
Could you spell that for me?
G-E-L-M, no, G-E-L-B-M-A-N.
Now, you had a very lively household. Tell me the names and a little bit about all your siblings.
We had 12 children, and one was married before the war. She had 2 children.
What was her name?
Leo, and she went to Auschwitz with us, And
Could you tell me a little bit about her wedding? What do you remember about her wedding?
it was a wedding, very nice wedding. It was on a Friday, because in Europe they didn't make a whole week. Like if they got married Friday, they kept Saturday and Sunday Sheva Bruches, you know. It was a Friday, and it was nice.
About how many people attended?
I mean, it's not such a big quantity like here, you know. So it was a nice wedding, and the rest wasn't married. One older brother next to this one came to United States.
What was his name?
Sam Katz. And before the war he came out, much before. And then was Miriam, Frida, and me, and Srul, Isidore, Aaron, Yosef, and Yidu. And then was Pinchas Chaim, went away with my mother and the youngest sister, Hannah Gittel, the two children, and two grandchildren.
Could you tell me a little bit what it was like living also with, you had many cousins, the
Yes.
Rosenthal. So what was it like, all of you, your large family, their large family, living in one big house?
Yeah, they had separate kitchens, and we had separate kitchens. They had quite 15 children, but one of them was married, the rest wasn't married.
So were the cousins, were you all very close? And
Yeah, we were close. Some of them were the same age like me. I was very friendly with her. She lives now in Israel, and the rest of them, we had different friends, everybody different, but we were close, the whole family. They had their life, and we had our life.
Could you tell me about your education?
I went to elementary school Russian, and then I went to high school Czech, and then I went to school by the Czechs, business school. You know, by Czechs, if you wanted to have a store, you had to have like a diplomat. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to get a store. So I went to school. My parents wanted to, if some of the girls get married, they put in the business. But never came to it, because then we were cut off with the Hungarian. That's it.
Could you tell me a little bit about the relationship between the Jews and the Gentiles in your city?
Our city wasn't anti-Semitic, not at all. My parents' parents lived in villages. They were very close to the Gentiles. Matter of fact, one grandfather lived next to, like a pope, and the other grandfather lives next to him. And they were so friendly. They came to him shopping, grocery. They both had stores. And beside the stores, they had fields, but grows everything there. In the village, they sold everything in the store. They were very friendly. I remember I went summer to there. Matter of fact, one of the Pope made a wedding for daughters. They invited us because it was outside by the church. So we went to see it. And the whole village gave respect for them all the time. One of the grandfather was a Kohen, so even the Christians knew how to say this, he comes from the king's family, But we used to go visit them, and they used to come to us shopping in the city. And Thursday was like a big market, and winter they came in to us because they were cold. They didn't have restaurants. They had korchmas, that's saloons. But not all of them went there. They came in to us and to warm up. They were very friendly. And we were friendly to them.
What about the children, the Gentile children that went to school with you?
We didn't, they didn't make differences. No, we were friends with them, but we didn't commute. They didn't come to us, and we didn't go to them. But in the school, we were friends. But the girls, sometimes we went to visit each other. As a matter of fact, well, I don't want to go in deep. One of the father, when the Hungarian came in before they took us to the ghetto, they asked everybody should give the jewelry, the earrings, whatever we have on, we shouldn't hide nothing. So one of my friends' father was there. So he said, children, don't start up, don't put away nothing. You wouldn't be able to save anyway. And they saw in my house a big doll. My brother here from the United States sent a doll for my younger sister. And he saw it. And then he told that if he could get for his daughter that doll, but he doesn't know how to take it. So one of the windows was next to a different house. He said, I should throw it out over there in the back in the window, and he will get it. So I gave it to him. And that.
Did you ever, when you walked through the streets of the city, did you ever see any fights between Jews or non-Jews or any anti-Semitic remarks?
Not till the Hungarian came in. Before, they didn't fight. No, they didn't fight. I mean, they had strict things, but not fighting. You know.
How large a city did you live in?
How large a city? I think so. It wasn't so big, 10,000.
And how many were Jews?
I don't know exactly, but it was a nice community, very nice community that hold together, you know. We had a few schools, you know.
How many were there?
1, 5, 6, 7. Then we had a rabbi, the Spinker Rebbe, had also a shul, had boys who learned there, the bigger boys, you know. Like a yeshiva, they were there, and another one was like 6, 7 shuls was there. My father belonged to Hebrew Mishnayos, they called, that was the biggest shul there. And over there, he was the Gabba, he used to daven for Numad, he lined, he was a Koyan, so...
he used to lead the davening, and he would read from the portion from the Torah.
Yes, Torah, yeah.
Did the girls attend shul as well?
No, the girls never went to shul. Maybe they didn't even have place for them. Everybody should go, but they never went. Just the holidays they went in, but like this, they never went.
Could you tell me a little bit about the holidays?
The holidays was very nice by us. You know, it was quiet, and they felt that's a holiday, you know, because almost everybody kept the holidays. Even they weren't so religious, but it came to holidays, everybody went to shul and everybody kept it.
Tell me about the holiday of Passover.
Passover was very nice to sit with everybody together. Even my married sister came with the husband, with the children. It was really nice. Just the last Passover was already disturbed.
But tell me about what the holiday was like when it was a joyous festival.
Yeah, it was, how shall I tell you, it was very nice because the tradition we all kept, whatever was, and the meals was made nice, and you know, like for the holidays, baked alone, we cooked alone. I mean, everything was done, nothing to board from outside. They didn't sell ready-made food, never. So from the scratch, everything was done in the houses. And they had pretty good kitchen by us. It wasn't a problem because sugar, those things we just took from sack, you know. We baked a lot, bread and everything. So it was very nice till then start the
Tell me, how did you help your mother clean the house for Passover?
certain things. I had a job every Friday to clean the shoes. Everybody had to clean the shoes. And that was my job, you know. I liked to do it, and everybody was happy. Even they had on shoes, they stand next to me, I should shine them. Or at home, everybody had shine shoes, you know.
Tell me about the Friday night meals. What were they like in your household?
It was like fish, soup, meat, and after the meat was vegetable or kugel. They didn't serve Friday night like here. They served it Shabbos lunch. We had cholent. The cholent used to take to a bakery. And our house, we had a big garden, and the end of the garden was all the shoes, and they had a bakery. So we used to take, everybody took to the baker the cholent. The cholent was a kugel, and regular cholent, why you make it here, but it was baked in the oven. And it came Friday, they filled up, everybody took, the people came, and they took it to the oven. So, and kugel, we made all kinds of kugel. I even remind myself how to make it myself. I make always a rice kugel. It's different than here, they don't sell it that. You know how I make it, and they like it. So I, like my daughter always said, my mother has traditional food.
Tell me what you did on Shabbat afternoon when you were young.
We used to go for a walk. We were surrounded with a lot of grapes, you know, and fruit. It was the city was low, and the fruit and the grapes was higher, you know, like looked like a wilderness. So we always went for a walk, and that was the entertainment. We met each other, met other people, and then like this, that was all. We went to houses, to friends' houses. We always went. When everybody came to us, or we went to somebody else, every Shabbos someplace else.
What type of Jewish education did you have when you were young?
I used to go summer to my grandfather, and over there I learned to daven and whatever. Yeah, but us in the house, they used to have like a tutor, a rabbi, who came to teach the girls. The boys went to regular yeshivas. They didn't need tutors. So.
And what did the tutor teach the girls?
To daven. And the dinam, they didn't have to learn because the house was it. We knew everything from the house, but we are allowed to do what we are not allowed to do. So we grew up, you know, to learn in my own house. Sometimes I have here arguments with the children. They tell me different and I tell them different. I said, don't teach me, I teach you. But, you know, because we were a strict Orthodox house, so we knew a lot. And they go after the schooling. But the rabbi said, and the teacher, so I explained them sometimes that it was different.
Were most of the Jews in your city Orthodox?
Not all of them. But they never criticized those who wasn't Orthodox. They knew this is their way and we are this way. We never criticized somebody else. There was a lot of Jews. They weren't Orthodox, but nobody stopped them or nobody complained. We had a few I would say barons in the city who lived. So was all kinds, you know, like was the first war from Hungary and was from then, time being by us.
Tell me about, do you remember anything about the holiday of Purim?
Oh, yeah. One of my oldest brother was born in Purim. So when he had to make the bar mitzvah in Purim, they used to come to the houses and they put out the lights and they said, like said, Purim spiel, and it was very lively. They went around the whole city, they weren't afraid to walk in the street. That was before,
Did you wear costumes?
Yeah, everybody had a costume, whatever they wanted to dress. Other kids like to dress, the boys and girls, and the opposite.
Do you remember any of your costumes?
Yeah, I usually put on some pants and a hat, I should look like a boy, and that was the costume. And they had to say, like a rhyme for Purim, like they said a Purim spiel.
And did you bring goodies to your
Oh,
friends'
yeah.
houses?
Yeah, everybody baked homemade cakes. They didn't sell home cakes by us. And just bread they sold, but cakes they didn't never make in bakeries. Everybody, by us, we had to bake a lot.
Could you tell me when the problems first began?
Problems begin before the Hungarian came in. They did they were very rough to the Jews. They came in already, like when they knew that they coming in, they were in the end of the city. So they put out already Hungarian flags, the people prepared it. And the stores, everybody closed, and they ran out from the houses because they probably knew, now I see, they knew that before other wars they were wild, the soldiers. So we went out from the house, we went in the back where people lived, and when they came in, they were very nasty. They used to cut the beards for the men in the street. They used to cut the pies for the boys in the street. And whatever they were able to do, they were very, very, people were afraid. Then they started up the Jews. The stores, like instance by us, they closed the store. And like a big family, it was hard. And that time we had a lot of merchandise when they came in. From our city they had a cartel that like sugar, rice, herring, they bought in big quantities, and a few stores they divided those things. Matter of fact, we had to hire for somebody else a room to put in rice, so much rice we had. And just happened before the Hungarian came in. Rice in Hungary was very expensive, and they didn't have. We had like shoes cheap, clothing cheap, they had manufactured, like butcher, So they came, they brought in to us like chickens, goose, the Hungarian, and they sold it, and they bought whatever it was. We weren't able to hide nothing in the house, because they said don't hide, because they used to hit the people and put them in the jail if they find a few people who was trying to hide coffee. By us was a lot of coffee. Matter of fact, came in sacks, and then they was places where they made it brown. They percolated, machines they have. In the houses, they used to do it also. If somebody needed coffee, they bought it raw or finished product. And so it was.
So what did they do? They took away all the merchandise?
They didn't take away the merchandise. They didn't have what to take away, but the people came in to buy, because like for one chair, Corona, we got 7 or 8 Hungarian money. lei, not lei. Whatever the Hungarian money, I don't remember, lei was it? No, couldn't be lei. Pengő. I knew lei was Romania. Pengő. So that for them was very cheap. And we weren't allowed to sell a lot because everybody wanted to buy. So 1 kilo, 2 kilo, that's it. And in a short time, took us a month or 2 months, the store was empty. Everything, they came to buy it, and we had to sell it. And that's why they empty out. New merchandise didn't come in. And it's not enough that the merchandise didn't come in. They took away from the Jews, how they call ipar. We weren't allowed to have the store.
Your permits.
Yeah, they took away from the store. The only thing we got, you know, everybody got a certain amount flowers for a week or for a day, depend how many people are in the family. You know, the city gave us, you know, tickets for it. We should go buy it. But we were very good with the mayor in the city and all of the, you know, who worked in the city hall or we were very good friendly because we lived next door, so they knew each other. So they gave us permit that we should get flour more than it's coming from us, like in a sack, not just a kilo. But that was private for us. Other people got also probably, but that helped us something to have more than we could go buy with the tickets, flowers. So we baked, and then we took the bread to bake in the bakery because it was in our garden. So that's why.
What year did the Hungarians come into your city?
In 1938, they came in to us. 38, 39.
Do you remember what month it was? Do you remember
I think
some?
it was warm. It wasn't cold, not winter.
Do you remember some of the rules, other rules that the Hungarians had in connection with the Jews? Was there a curfew or?
Oh, later on, they started already to have a curfew. Matter of fact, they had a soldier by us who was like my husband was in working camp, so they had groups always coming and going, you know. They passed our city and they went in other cities. They marched all the time. And when they saw already the store was closed, so they had a song for our city that it's finished Katzis Rosenthal. You know, the good times, now it's finished for everything. So as soon as they walk to in the street where the car's going, they right away they start to sing the bunches together. That's it.
Tape number 2, December 5th, 1995, interview with Mrs. Irene Rosenbaum. So so there were refugees who were Jewish who were being sent by trains. Could you tell me about that?
From different cities, like from Slovakia. They didn't have Hungarian citizen paper, or they were Polish or Czech. They shipped them out. So they had to go through our city because that way they went to the Carpathen, you know, Carpatha Rus. You know, that was the border a little bit high, and like this they went. So children went the whole day standing by the train and giving them food through the doors when they stopped. And some family yelled out, they were looking for cats in the Rosenthal. So somebody came to tell us that we have a relation. So we grabbed like bread or something fast and we ran. But till we got there, the train left already. We never heard about them anymore. We knew who they are because it was family.
And
that
where were
was
they
and
taken?
a lot of weeks till they finished everybody. Even from our city, I had a friend's sister who got married to a boy. He was a dentist from Czechoslovakia, from Slovensko, and they came after him because he wasn't a Hungarian citizen, and she said she's going with him. She never came back. She was so beautiful. She was young, and that's it.
What were the Hungarians like? How did they treat the Jews? Were any of them kind?
I wouldn't say that. They weren't kind. Friday, the girls had to go out, from our street. We were able to go in my backyard, the shoes, but had a street, end of the street, where the street was going, turned to a different street, and over there came a few other streets to shul. So we girls used to go because the Hungarian young boys were who caught the pies or they kicked them or they did. So we used to go in the corner, stand there Friday night to watch them and to yell at them that they mean. So they didn't want to do it. I don't know if that was an order or they did it by themselves. Like afterwards, when my father has to go on the bank or that he has to go in an office, he never went alone. I used to go with him.
So you think the Hungarian young men were not going to be as vicious if there were girls, if the girls were there?
Yes, they weren't. I mean, they yelled at them. I mean, because they were young like we were, or a little bit older. So we didn't let ourselves. But the police who belonged to our city, they were nice. They knew everybody, and they were lenient, So it was different.
Were any of the Czech people, did any of them, the Gentiles, become collaborators?
They didn't. They all ran away. All the Czechs ran away. Matter of fact, before the Czech ran away, we had like a college, but no Jews was in it, just Russian, Ukrainians school was there, but didn't last long. They were there a year or 2 years, I remember. They were very anti-Semitized. And then the Hungarian came in, they couldn't run enough. They went, towards that, after our city came like Kirahaz, and then, whose other cities, they run. And the next day, everybody was there dead. They caught up with them, the Hungarian, they didn't run enough. And the parents came to yell, those boys were such a nice boys, but they were very, very bad. They had very bad plans for the Jews. So they got what they deserved. They all was killed, and the hitches, on the side of the street, and the gutters were laying all the way, all of them. Not one survived from the whole school.
So did things begin to get worse? Tell me about what happened next.
By us, got first, they started to take away the boys. Some of them, older one they took before, soldiers. And then little by little, later on, they started to take even more. Even they were not the age, but younger ones also. And it was hard because they couldn't work no place, nobody worked. We didn't have too much factories to go to work. They went to schools and that's it. So it was very hard to make a living for everybody, wasn't from bad. They just picked up here and there, from the villages. They collected, even the Gentile, the Russian people, by us they spoke Russian, the villages. They picked leaves from the tree and they brought it in by us. We had a empty spaces magazine because we didn't have the store anymore. And they made bundles with machine put together like the hay here, United States. And they told us that they're selling it for medicine they want to make from the leaves. That's, everybody knew that, till I didn't come to Auschwitz. Then I find out that we were eating that leaf with the soup. That was our soup. And Auschwitz, the leaves.
So tell me which of your brothers were taken to labor camp?
One of my brother was a labor camp, went where he met my husband, the same place.
Which brother was this?
Sruel, Israel. And then another brother, Aaron, he went later. And the rest of them went to Auschwitz.
So tell me, what was the mood of your parents and the other Jews?
Very bad, very run down. They knew everything, you know, they didn't know nothing what goes on, what they do with the Jews. But they heard always some politic towards Hitler, what he's doing, and they heard, you know, so it was very bad. Matter of fact, before the ghetto started, it took them a few weeks to fill it up, because we had a lot of villages surrounding. Behind us, you know, towards a different city, and, you know, surrounding all kinds of villages came, and they all came by wagon. And
when was the ghetto started? When was the ghetto formed?
The ghetto started like Achal Shal Pesach, the last day Pesach, we didn't even know. Some people, how it started, people came in, the policemen, and, you know, and they said, take whatever you could in your hand and come with us. They didn't tell them nothing. And take some food if you haven't had. Some people didn't even put away the dishes after Pesach. We just find out in the morning. We didn't know what goes on. In the morning, you know, matter of fact, one of the youngest brother, Yidu, went to shul praying, you know, by himself. It was garden, everybody went whenever they wanted. So we didn't know what goes on, and all of a sudden a police comes with our police from our city. He recognized, we said to him, little kids, what you doing here? Your parents are home. He said, I don't know, I came to pray. So he said, come, I take you home. So he came, he brought him home, and then he told us that the people are there. They was very rough, they had nurses there, everybody they touched, and they find out they beating who hides gold or jewelry. So all the toilets there was outside the toilets, you know, not, and everybody, when they find out that people get beating for it, they throw in the toilet. The toilet was full, but it was all kinds of jewelry there. So, and the nurses was everybody examining, you know. They took away everything. Matter of fact, a lot of people was jailed. And after when they took to Auschwitz, they let them out, you know. But till then, and they were beating very bad people who hide it. They didn't tell them where they have money or whatever they have. It was very bad.
So where was the ghetto?
The ghetto was where all the shuls are, in the shuls. You know, the big shul, you know, the main, our shul was the main entrance. And then they put them in different shuls. And then the ghetto started not far, a whole street they took. The Gentiles people, they empty out. They send them in different places. They had plenty place where to send them. And like this, they filled up every day, different houses.
And what was the name of the street?
Magyar Sor.
Was this ghetto surrounded by barbed wire?
No, you didn't need the, you didn't need the by the people. They watched us, the police. That's all. And no place where to go. Nobody tried to go out. Yeah, they tried to go out, you know, and the market something to grab or what, but they couldn't go. They put boys to it. They should go bring in food or what, but nobody escaped. In the ghetto, whatever, who had the beard, they gave out an order. They should cut the hair. I remember my father, should rest please, he went in one of the outside, shack, and he cut his beard. He was embarrassed to come out. I couldn't look at him how he looked. It was awful to look at that scene. And the same thing happened to everybody.
How many people lived in one room
Where ghetto?
in the ghetto?
Both families lived. We had on the floor. When we came to the ghetto, we bought the quilts, and everybody, the sheets, they packed up whatever we able to carry in the hand. You know, we had to walk there. Not far, but we had to walk. Matter of fact, when they told us before to go in the ghetto, our windows, you could see the main offices down. The mayor came, he never had children, so he was always friendly to us. He came down with his wife. We had a very big gate in front of the house. The gate was open, and can you imagine so many people have outside bundles with pig, and he shake his head with her together like this, and they went further. They just came down to shake. They knew us, and they saw always the children, and so many years. We had a well in our house outside, and when the ghetto started, they brought the horses, so it was so crowded that they had to stop to drink water. So a lot of them came in to us, to the well, to give the wagons, the horses, drink water. And one of the Jews who he used to shop with, he knew us. We used to look through the window, the people, how they came. We had window to the street, and we had on the side we came the entrance. So one of the Jews came in the kitchen to us, and he said to my father, he gave him a pumpernickel, a round pumpernickel bread. He said to him, hide me this. They wouldn't take you. He said to my husband, what goes on? He said, did I know? I don't know. And you think so they wouldn't come for us also? But you just take it. So when he left, my father took the bread, he opened it. I was amazed. I was standing there, and it was full with gold. So my husband said,
Your father?
My father, my goodness. My father said, oh, they wouldn't hit me for that, for jewelry. Be a word, be everything. So when they came before we had to go to get the ghetto, my father gave in everything, whatever he got from those. Couple of years later, my sister Frida, here was a store, a material store. The name is Katz also. And my sister went in, and she said to me, she came home, she said to me, here is from a village, from Campania Cats, because I was in the store, and she figured maybe I knows them. The rest of them, nobody was in the store. So I went in there, and he told me who he is. I recognized him, and I told him the story. He never heard the story that what his father did. So he was very interested for them, what I told him, because he wasn't home, and he didn't know what goes on. But the wagons went constantly for 4 weeks. They
bringing the Jews to the ghetto.
From morning till night. They didn't stop 1 minute. After 4 weeks, but they took us even more. But we went in almost the last one to the ghetto. We lived there in front, and they knew already. They weren't in a rush to take us, it looks like. So before we went in, we were able to go next house. They had they took the people away. They have here sons, and they had an oven in the house. So we used to go there, and they had a lot of wheat, corn, because they had fields. So we went in and we baked up every day. Some of them, they let us go in, and the house was empty, and we shipped it to the ghetto for the people. Then we ran out already. So matter of fact, we had also corn in one of the houses outside. We had built sicker, and we put away corn to dry out. And the policeman in the back of our garden was policemen watching. They shouldn't run away people, because over there was the main entrance for the ghetto's people. So one of the police came, he said, "Listen, children, don't run around because they think that you're hiding something." That was our policeman. So he said, "I'm standing here, go up, bring down everything, and no more going around no place, because you are in problem then, if they will see you that you running around outside and inside." So that was...
Were the Hungarians guarding the ghetto or the Czech police?
No, Czech was out. No more Czech. Czech left. As soon as the Hungary came in, they ran out before they came. You didn't find not one Czech when the Hungarian came in. They left the city like a few days and they ran away, because they knew already they went to other places. So they went from city to city. They knew that they were coming to us, not one. We had a whole street, but they built, the Czech people, they called it the Czech black, like a railroad, the whole thing, the whole street. Not one was there. Matter of fact, Miriam, my sister, after the war, she was in Czechoslovakia. They remained because we divide ourselves, so she remained there with another sister, with Leah, and two brothers, and she was in the street and she met a teacher, Teplichanov, they call it, the teacher who taught her in high school. And the same teacher taught me and taught Frida, and he recognized in the street. She met his wife. That was interesting for them to meet people who ran away from us.
Could you tell me a little bit more about life in the ghetto? Was there anything to eat?
Those people who was there, like for weeks, they were already starving. Very little food they gave us. Certain amount bread they brought in or whatever. Very little. But we had more at home before we went in, so it wasn't bad. But we started to be already like on the hungry side, that's all. And it happened we went away early. We was the first one, wherever we lived, that territory they took. And when we went to Auschwitz, all who they, like they call it criminals, they weren't criminals, but they had money or something, they were beaten out. All of those people came at the first transport to Auschwitz.
About how many Jews would you say were in the ghetto of your city?
All of them. All of them. I mean, nobody remained home. Matter of fact, a few of them had Gentile wives. One of them who had a bank, his wife was a Gentile. When we left to the ghetto, she was standing with two girls in the street. I could see her now. Waved to the husband, say goodbye. Didn't help nothing. Another Jew had also a Christian girl matter of fact, he survived. He became again a Jew. So that was also to see from the ghetto when we left. They told us to bring whatever we have. So we prepared like coffee to drink and food, whatever we had, we prepared. And clothes. We didn't need clothes so much, but you can't take too much. We dressed ourselves and was walking from the ghetto to the train. And all the way, all the Christians were standing by the gates and looking, watching us how they take us. Not one blinked an eye. All of them were watching us. So all we gathered to the train. We were around 80 people, one
cattle car.
Yeah.
How did they decide who was going? Did they come and knock on the door of where you were living? How did you know that you were chosen?
In the ghetto?
No, to the train station.
Oh, they came in and they just empty out the rooms. They said, "Come, bring whatever you have, food," and that's it. We went we listened whatever they told us. We went without thinking twice what we're doing. We didn't know where we're going, what we're going. Matter of fact, he was later on here, a rabbi, who was caught in the train. He I don't know, the Jews wasn't allowed to travel anymore. But they called him that he's a Jew. And what happened in front, they brought him into our ghetto. He was perfect in German. He knew how to speak, and he was a Hungarian, he was educated. So he started to work already, to bring in food. He was an organizer. And it happened, he came with us in the same cattle car. Maybe it looks like, if I remember back, maybe he knew what goes on, because we didn't know. We just knew that they hitting the Jews, in different cities here and there, but we didn't know where we go, what we go. They just told us we'll work. The mothers will work. The mothers be with the children, and the girls will work. And how we came closer to Auschwitz, we saw the striped dresses, and I looked out in that little window, and he was standing next to me. I said, "Look at here, how many crazy people they are." We thought that's in jail or crazy people. Why? Because they waved to us, and they made with the hand. So I thought they crazy. No, they waved. We should throw them food through the window out. Later on, I already knew that who was the crazy people. And he looked at me and said, "They're not crazy." And I saw it on him. Later, I realized that he knew. He came out here in the United States. He came to visit me. He was teaching in the Yeshiva University, and my son went there to school, and he knew who is. So the boys used to tell him, "Oh, favorite is it?"
So how do you think he knew what he knew about the concentration camps?
I don't know. Maybe he knew because he came. He didn't live in our city. He came. I don't know if he came from Budapest, for a big city. Maybe he wanted to go home towards our city, and they grabbed them in. Something he knew, He started in the ghetto. He was very big organizer, and like this, they start. A lot of boys was organized to go out and the market, bring food and everything.
What was his name?
What's his name? My goodness.
Tell me the names of the family members, of your family members that were with you in the cattle car.
The names?
Who was with you from your family?
My father, my mother, my sister Leah with the children, Miriam, Frida, me, who else? Joseph, Yidu, Pinchas Chaim, Hanegitala, and then the Rosenthal's.
So the whole Rosenthal family
was there, and beside that, was another family, Klein, the father, the mother, 2 girls, and one boy. And there was another family also there who had very small children. And they divided the cattle car with a curtain or a sheet. You know, they should be able to use it.
To go to the,
to
use a bucket or something.
That's right. The dishes, we had dishes so used, and we could throw it out through the windows.
Did you also have an aunt, and you had an aunt there?
The Rosenthal's was with us. So the father, the mother, and a few, all who went to Auschwitz, they all were there. The girls and the boys, the younger ones. The mother went with one girl, but you will see the picture. And then the boy went with the father, a little one, and then was another one, and 3 more girls.
What were all your family members talking about? What was the mood?
Nothing was, it was Rosh Chodesh, and they davened Rosh Chodesh Shabbos morning. You know, that was, but nothing talking. Everybody, no sounds came out from people. Everybody was just quiet, not to ask nothing. We were eating whatever we had, or maybe they give us in, but stations when they stopped, something, I don't remember what they gave us, maybe water or bread, that's it, not much. And we weren't able to see. On the field sometimes we looked out, we saw present in the field, one person, that's it, nothing else.
What about the young children in the cattle car?
Some of them, they were babies, and you know, they